Good morning, good morning. I am Reverend Karen Lewis, and it is my joy to be here on this morning, the second Sunday of this new year. And I am so aware how we truly are building this net that is the New Vision Center, and how we are deepening and tightening it up, if that is a word. And I often think about what is my role as one of the senior ministers here. And I am very, very clear it is not to bestow some great wisdom onto this community. And I am so grateful for that. But rather, how I see my role is to be part of this net that we are building here, and to remind us of the wisdom that is collectively available, that is in each and every one of us. I was reminded this morning about something that Dr. Ernest Holmes often shared. He's the founder of our teaching. And when he would speak, especially when he spoke in Ventura in the 1950s, he would say that, yes, I prepared a talk. Yes, I know what I'm talking about, what I want to talk about. However, this talk is not complete without your presence. And it changes. However prepared I might be at this moment for this talk, here and now, the energy that comes back creates the experience. And I love that. I love that. This week, my talk title is Here and Now. And I have been studying a lot of the people who talk a lot about that. Names like Eckhart Tolle come to mind, who wrote The Power of Now. And what it really comes down to is to be here now. And so I invite us, wherever you are, if you're taking notes or if you're having a cup of coffee or whatever is in your hands, just let it go for a moment. Open your arms wide and say with me, I am here. And notice how that feels. I believe that this practice to come as often as we can into this now moment is at the very fundamental foundation of our teaching. For you see, all of the wisdom in the world, and for that matter, all of the love in the world, and all of the kindness cannot reach us if we are not willing to be open to it. If I am busy fretting about something that happened in the past, or if I am really worrying about what's going to happen in the future, I am not here able to receive all the goodness that is present. So let's breathe into that. Right now, in January, all of the centers of spiritual living around the world are anchoring into the fundamental part of our teaching. A lot of centers call it the basics of science of mind. And so today you will hear me refer to a lot of very basic understandings of this teaching, because we know there are some people that had in their New Year's resolutions, I am going to perhaps grow myself, perhaps look for a spiritual community. So January is usually the time where we see an influx of new people coming. And so we want to become very clear of what this teaching is about, what this invitation to a spiritual life is about. And for me, it has really three components. The first component is to deepen into my understanding of God, of that which is greater than I am. Whatever word you might use, it might be spirit, divine presence, infinite intelligence. Whatever that is, the invitation is to daily lean into it. Be curious about it. What is it? And then to define it for ourselves. For one thing that I have learned, there are eloquent teachers in the world, and I love reading what they have to say. And what brings me closer to the divine, nearer, is when those words are my words. So that is the first part, leaning into the divine. And then the second part is being curious about this individual that looks back from the mirror. Being curious about my life. Being willing to introspectively look at where I've been, what I have learned, and what is this? Who is this Karin? I often, when I do that work, I refer to myself in my German name, so I call myself Karin. And to be willing to have a look at who is this individual. Not from a place of, oh, this is what happened to me, I'm a victim, but rather, this is how I am showing up in the world. And that brings me to the third point, and that is to become very clear of what are the spiritual qualities that I want to bring forth in the world. I love it so much that every Sunday morning before we start our service, we create this space and we pray in all of the individuals who are present here. And when the campus is open, all of the people that are coming here to serve in a service team, and we all pray in and we place one spiritual quality into that sacred circle. And it helps us to become clear that when I claim that today I am going to be grace, and then something happens, I am invited back to remembering that I claimed that quality of grace and to respond to it, not with anger, not with disappointment, but with an open heart and with grace. And so the third part is really to daily ask ourselves, preferably in the morning, who do I want to be in the world today? What spiritual quality do I want to live out? And then perhaps in the evening, come back to it and ask ourselves, well, how did I do? Where was I grace? Where was I joy? Where did I have a stand for freedom for all? And where could I do better? And so those are the three components for me. And I love how our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, speaks to this. And he says, we should develop, that is the one that is still on the printer. We should develop the practice of communing daily with the Spirit that is within us. Daily. Just taking a moment, communing with that which is greater than we are. One of the things that I love about our teaching is that our teaching is a teaching of cause. I do believe we have that wonderful slide of our teaching symbol that shows the cause is really all the way on the top there. And that is where those spiritual qualities reside. That is where love, peace, harmony, joy, wisdom, abundance, possibility resides. And our teaching teaches us through the creative process to lean into that unmanifested potentiality and bringing it down into our lives as the effects. And that is what the V stands for, that creative process. If you are in the foundations class with Reverend Leslie currently, you know that you're going to learn that. Have you ever taken the foundations class? That is what we talk about all the time, that our work, our life purpose really is to bring forth that which we are called to bring forth. That's what I love about this teaching. And of course, often we have people who come and say, Reverend Karen, I would like to manifest a new man or a new woman in my life. I would like to have that red convertible. Those are wonderful ways of using the tools of the science of mind to bring forth the effects of our life. But what our work really is to understand that those are just byproducts when we anchor into the quality that we want to become. For example, if I anchor into becoming love and not focus so much on creating the perfect relationship, long and behold, what happens? As I become love in the world, the person that is the right person for me walks in, sometimes in mysterious ways. So that's what I love about this teaching. And as we practice, as we commune daily with the divine, we develop a trust into life. Just trusting that if I do my part, Spirit will do its part. How wonderful it is that in this teaching we are invited to not only look at ancient wisdom and find examples of that, but also to look into the world right now and to look for the sacred and to look for examples of individuals who have lived their life in service of a spiritual life, who have gone through their individual spiritual hero's journey. And I was recently reminded of one of those stories. A young boy in Louisville, Kentucky in the early 1950s had received a bicycle. Him and his brother had received a bicycle for Christmas, and they were elated. It meant freedom. It meant the possibility to expand their world. And unfortunately, within a month, that bike was stolen. And this little boy was so angry. He was so angry about it. And perhaps you can remember the first time you connected with the unfairness of life. Just how unfair life sometimes appears to us. And so the little boy went to a couple adults and asked, what can I do? And one of them suggested to go ahead and to visit with a police officer who was living in the basement on 8th Street. And so he went there. And as he was going down into the basement, he realized that it was a place where this police officer would teach young black and white men to box, how to box. And in that moment, he made the decision that he would become the greatest boxer ever. And you see, what I believe is that he was in that moment opened up, broken open by life, by what had happened to him, so open enough to listen to that small voice within that said, this is yours to do. And so he did. He trained, and he became one of the biggest athletes and boxers in the world. He was born Cassius Clay. And later in life, he chose the name Muhammad Ali. Now, what you might not know was that Muhammad Ali lived right here in Paradise Valley up to his death about 4 years ago. And he was so involved in philanthropy, not only here in the valley, but all over the world. And there is a museum in Louisville, Kentucky. It's called the Muhammad Ali Museum. And as you walk in, so I'm told, I have not been there, there are 3 quotes on the wall. One quote is from the Bible, one quote is from the Quran, and one quote is from Dr. Ernest Holmes. I found that amazing. And the quote is, "Spirituality is one's recognition of the universe as living presence of good, truth, beauty, peace, power, and love. Do not wonder whether or not you are spiritual. Rather, accept the fact that you must be." Rather, accept the fact that you must be. And so we breathe into this, to this invitation, into this realization that who we are is a spiritual being having a human experience. And oh my, do we live in a world that is trying to take us out of it, out of this here and now moment. This last week, we had a lot of headlines who were really trying to steal our joy. It has been one of those weeks in many, many people's personal lives, in the life of this country, in the life in this world, that had the potentiality to pull us out of being open, of this now moment. And so I, reading Eckhart Tolle a lot, came across this quote. He says, "As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolves, and life begins to flow with joy and ease. When you act out of the present moment awareness, whatever you do becomes imbued with a sense of quality, care, and love, even the most simple action." Even the most simple action. And so I was thinking, how can I offer a tool that helps us to come back into this now moment? Because the world at large is really working against us in this. And so I came up with creating these little pedals. Sometimes during the day, I say to myself, I am here. And that still voice within says, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I literally see a little blue balloon rising up. And I invite myself to celebrate that moment. Because I too read the news. I do see what's happening in the world. And if I can create a moment of peace in the midst of the storm, if I can be a vessel for the divine to come through, I want to celebrate that. I don't want to miss it. And so I see a green balloon rising up. And then there are moments where that is not the case, where I'm involved in something and I can tell I am not here, I am not in my body, I am not fully present. And that's when I see a yellow balloon. And in those moments, I remind myself to breathe. And as a matter of fact, let's all do that together. That wonderful box breathing that has been introduced to us, where we inhale to the count of 4, we hold it to the count of 4, we exhale to the count of 4, and we remain empty to the count of 4. Immediately, I feel calmer. Immediately, I feel more in this now moment. I feel present right here, right now. When I say to myself, I am here, usually in the quietness of my own mind, so people around me are not disturbed by it, I am here. I hear back from that voice. Yeah. You're working on it. You're aware of it. And it is in those moments that I vow to myself that I see what is in front of me. That I listen to whatever life has brought in front of me and give it my full attention. And I vow to rediscover whatever grittiness might be there and allow it to bring me back here. It works. It truly works. Until it doesn't. Those are the moments where something comes out of my mouth and I regret it immediately. Now, I don't know if you ever have those moments. No? Oh, I am amongst amazing people. I do. Sometimes something happens and it comes out and that is not in alignment with my quality for today, which is joy. And then I'm grateful for the red balloon that I see that floats up, because it's such an easy reminder. Okay, Karin, it's time to come back. Let it go. I check in. Are there some things that I can do to support me? HALT is one of those wonderful acronyms. I know we have heard that, right? Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? And then I can just move in the physical and remedy that. And what I have noticed, when I take the time to remedy whatever is off balance, I am back. I am back in this moment, in the here and now. And so the invitation this week, if you're willing to accept it, is to spend some time in contemplation of how you would articulate those 3 areas of the divine, of the spiritual life, that you are inviting the divine more powerfully into your world. By contemplating, leaning into that which is greater than you are through spiritual practice, through taking a moment for stillness, whatever works for you. The second thing is to lean into and be curious of who am I? Classes are a wonderful way to discover what are the beliefs that seem to be running my life. And to understand that the more I am willing to clean out whatever came before without blaming it on anybody else, without blaming myself for it, just to heal it. The more I get to know myself, the easier it is to live out those spiritual qualities of the divine that call most to me. So that is my invitation for this week. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that we come together under the umbrella of this teaching that invites us to find ways to be the very, very best we can be. To serve those people around us, our families, to serve our communities, to serve the world. I am so grateful you are on this journey with me. And so it is. And so from this place, we do what we often do, what we always do. We anchor it in prayer. And so I invite all of the practitioners of this teaching, the ministers, to take a stand, to just rise and take a stand with me. And so recognizing the allness of life. In this now moment, I recognize love and peace and harmony, joy, abundance, possibility, as qualities of that which is greater than I am, sweet spirit, infinite intelligence of God. And how grateful I am as I become so very clear on the goodness that is everywhere present. The eternal loving kindness of that spirit. That it is right where I am. That right in the center of my being, these qualities reside. And as I know that this is the truth of myself, I know that this is the truth of every person. Everywhere. For there is no place where God is not. There's no place where the divine is not. And so we open up to that truth. And in this here and now moment, I declare goodness prevails. Peace on earth prevails. That all sentient beings are experiencing that they belong to the one life, to that one power. And from this place, I know that all is possible, for all is divinely ordained. And so we open ourselves up to know this truth, not only for ourselves, but for all beings. Recognizing that the good that I claim for myself, I claim for my neighbor. And so we lift up every person that has ever heard about the New Vision Center, any person that has ever walked through the doors, that has been touched by this teaching, by the love that is palpable right here. And I do so with great gratitude. So much gratitude for all the good. And as I place this word into universal law, I know it is done, it is complete. It is already so. And together we anchor this truth as we say, and so it is.
Please join us in this deepening practice. I live in the flow of ease and grace, where everything falls into place. La da da da. Lo, lo, lo. I live in the flow of ease and grace, where everything falls into place. I live in the flow of ease and grace, where everything falls into place. La da da da. Ah. I live in the flow of ease and grace, where everything falls into place. I live in the flow of ease and grace, where everything falls into place. La da da da. Ah. Oh.
Thank you so very much, Reverend Leslie. Today in the Divine Group, we have Fred Alwick and Jack Saba and Frank Smith. And thank you for bringing that practice. I remember we had talked about a way to invite us in to practice being in the here and now. And what a beautiful, beautiful way. I so hope we will find that in the newsletter on Monday. That would be lovely. Oh. How blessed we are, how very, very blessed. And each and every one has something to give. I know that. And each and every one of us is called forth by this thing called life to do just that. For gifts not given are not blessing anyone. And so this is the time where we also include in that gift-giving financial support. You know, there's really no difference in the mind of the divine, I know, I feel it, that to give of creativity, to give of beautiful music, to give a talk, to share a meditation, or to give of our financial good. It is all just energy. And so we want to take this time to honor all of the beloveds who are doing just that, supporting this center with their financial good. If you have it handy, take it to your heart. You know, allow that amount that you are wanting to share with the world to come to mind, and please repeat after me. This gift I give is God in action. I give it in joy. I give it in love. I give it knowing that I am blessed. And so I gratefully give. And as we take a moment and truly feel this circulation of good in our lives, we take this time to bless all the givers, all the receivers, and the stewardship of this activity. How very, very blessed we are. Thank you, life. And so it is.